All right, and we are recording. Beautiful. Got one more person.
I love it. So I'm a connector, right? So I like to start by just getting to know everybody in the room. So if you don't mind, Ryan, can I start?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's start. Because we're here not to take people's time, but to give them value. So my name is Shayna Hargens. I am the connection queen, and I connect businesses with tools, strategies, platforms, whatever their little heart desires. And Ryan and I met, last summer, probably 8-10 months ago, and hit it off and have just built upon our conversations to this moment, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I actually, I told Ryan, and we actually had some inquiries to do a training like this where Ryan can take your brand and really make it sing online. Okay. And he also can take that and those components and those pieces and those assets and bring them to the physical world. So we're putting those two things together today. And I'm super excited that you guys are here. I know we've got Facebook Live going. We've got people here in the Zoom with us, and there'll be a replay, like blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to pass it off to Ryan to introduce himself. And then if we want to, the people in the Zoom room can introduce themselves as well, so we know who we're talking to.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Riefenberger. I'm the lead web architect at Falls Technology Group here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We've been a web design and development company here for the last 4 years, coming up in April. It's been really exciting to work with Shayna and with her whole network of people, and it's kind of turned into this really neat coffee community, I guess you could call it, every Thursday morning where we check in on each other, and it's been just a really fun time. What I do professionally is our company provides web design and hosting services. Much like anything that you can get from GoDaddy, you can get from us, but it's going to be from somebody who answers the phone. And we love what we do, and we wake up every day and we're very, very excited about it. I'm here, I guess, to talk about, like Shayna said, bringing your digital brand and incorporating with something a little bit more physical. We like to manifest that in a way that I think a lot of people really, really enjoy, and that being something personal, like a greeting card. And so the most personal thing that you can give somebody is something that's handwritten, that's put together in a nice package, and really spreads that message of cheer. But pulling something out of a stock image or pulling an old card off of the Hallmark just sometimes doesn't quite get the message across appropriately. And so what we can do is we can take simple free tools, and we can take that digital brand, and then we can turn that into a physical card that then they have and they can hold in front of them, put it on their desk, and remember each and every day that there's someone special. So one of the things that Shayna has done is she uses a software called Sendout Cards. And so a lot of you, I'm sure, have heard of that platform before. And it's a really, really neat platform. It essentially automates the card sending process, allows you to attach a gift and to send off something really, really nice. And so what we recently have taken to do is we've combined that strategy with essentially taking the same design and bringing it into Canva. So let me share my screen, and I will, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let me pull in, get all this up, and then we'll go around and we'll make sure that everybody has an opportunity to introduce themselves before I get carried away. Does that work?
Awesome. Perfect. So I'll go around the room while you're bringing that up. Awesome. So since Chris is on camera, I'm going to make him introduce himself first. Let's hear it, Chris.
Okay, quick, turn it off. I'm Chris Veazey, Veazey Technologies. I've been a self-employed IT for about 13 years now in Rapid City. Yeah, that's all things, anything my customers ask me to do, I'll give it a shot, and focusing currently on moving, because I'm a one-man show, moving a lot of their services to the cloud and things like that. So I don't have to go on site, but so yeah, that's me.
Very cool. Thank you for introducing yourself.
Yes. Patrick, how about you?
Hi, I'm Patrick. I just got home from work. I just joined to listen to what you guys have to say. I always love learning more stuff.
Awesome. And what do you do, Patrick?
I am currently I do technology stuff for like an anchor laying company. So we do earth anchors, and I just do like the CAD programming for it, and I just make like the logos and stuff, and do the books, and then I go out and actually lay the anchors down. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, small business, all the hats, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I love it. All right. And how about Liz?
Hey guys, I'm Relissa Wida. I have a business here in Rapid City. I'm a massage therapist and I do a variety of other therapies. And my goal is basically to connect people who are really looking for solutions for their health to those solutions. That's what I do.
I love it. Make people feel good.
Yes,
right?
People need healing. That's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Perfect. Did we give Ryan enough time?
Yeah.
Are you-
Oh yeah, I got everything pulled up.
Awesome. Perfect. Take it away, Ryan. Let's see what you got.
Coolio. So Shayna, I'm going to use you as an example for this one, just in the interest of confidentiality for the remainder of my clients.
Okay.
So when Shayna and I first started working together, one of the things that I had conversation with her about was that we at False Technology Group have an affiliate program. And essentially that means that if you refer someone to us, we'll pay out a commission to you for those referrals. And so when she got her first referral through our company, I thought that would be a great opportunity. So what I did was, at the time, our website was designed with this big cornfield in the back, and I'll share my screen and you can see what that looks like. There's that button. Boop. Cool, there we go. And so you can see we've got very much a Midwestern themed website. It's very obviously we're from South Dakota. You can just look at it and see that it's got a definite brand image that comes with that. So what we did was we popped that into Canva, and you can go into Canva and you can actually create a card. And what I like to do is I like to do the portrait cards. So I just do a 5x7 and you can start your design with a blank design. And my favorite thing about this is that you don't have to create 4 separate designs. You can just create multiple pages and you can do it all at once. So what we did was we pulled that in. I took a template from something here on the left and we threw a picture from our website into the back, threw our logo onto the back, and Shayna now knows that she's a winner. Where do you keep that card, Shayna?
Right here.
Yeah, it's the best place for it. So and another thing too, one of the things that we want to make sure is that our customers remember us, because the easiest thing is for them to forget once they've already made the purchase, once they've already worked with you. Sometimes it's just easy to move on and forget. And you want to just remind them and make sure that they know that you care about them. And it's a really fun experience, and it's a fun way to do that, something a little bit more personal. And so at the very top of our cards, we usually will put something along the lines of, "You're so meaningful to us," and it'll give them the opportunity to review their, to just, say, "Hey, we're on Facebook. You can find us on Google. You can find us on LinkedIn. And these are the places that you can go if you want to talk about us or if you want to find more information." Next part is the actual inside of the card. So when you open it up, it's got the bottom portion, and that's where I like to put my message. And so, Shayna, thank you so much for your time and for your referral. Your insight into the sales process was very helpful, and I wanted to extend my personal gratitude for everything you've done for us. I hope to continue this symbiotic tradition of excellence with you. I put the logo on there so that way they know who's there and who is sending them this card. I put a commission balance at the bottom so she knows exactly how much she had available at that time, with a reminder, hey, you can cash out anytime if you go to your portal. And I put my signature and I put my information at the very bottom, and on the back, you just scan. We threw a QR code. We don't have to put our phone number on or do anything complicated. We just throw a QR code. You can go to a website online, and I will post all of that on Facebook here after this chat. But you can go online, create a free QR code, download that, and then import it in. So when you look at the card as a whole, it's a really neat experience. You've got 4 different panes, and you can export any one of these. So if I wanted to reuse this back portion, I can just download these individual pages. So it makes for a really neat tool. What I like to do then in Canva is you can just pre-populate something from the left, And then you can use the system like send out cards. Do the same thing with a vertical card or with a horizontal card. And Shayna makes that process super, super easy with everything that comes with send out cards.
So Ryan, I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
In creating this, can you talk more about some of the imagery, logo placement, fonts?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I like to keep consistent is, especially when you have a website or when you have a brand, usually there are fonts that are associated with your brand. And 9 times out of 10, those are free fonts that are available on Google, and they're also going to be available on Canva too. And so an example for us is that we use Oswald on our website. So that's what I build my cards with now, is I make sure that I just go in, I throw in a little bit of text, pop in a piece of text, and then you just go and make sure that you've got it set up with the right font. Now the placement can sometimes be a little bit tricky. It's usually what I try to do is I stay within the stay inside the actual guidelines here. So that way, if you're planning on having it printed, or if it's going directly to the printer, they're not going to cut anything off of the edges. And then I usually try to make sure that if there's any imagery in the background, that you put a filter over the top of it. So let's walk through the process of creating cards start to finish. So that way we can see what that looks like. Card. So you said positioning, imagery, and text. So let's start with imagery. So let's say we just got hired by a fishing company, and they wanted a new website to be designed. So let's look up fishing. Find a nice fishing picture, and we start off with something vivid and bold. Now let's think, what's something special that's clever, something that they would think of, oh gosh, You're a Catch. Let's pick a fun font for that. And I like to do capital letters, something a little less formal because they're fishermen, not businessmen. There we go. When considering fonts, the one thing that I like to remember is that if you want it to look business professional, something like an attorney's office, you're going to want to use a font with a serif. And so if we look up serif, you can see it's got these tags on the end. Whereas if you go sans serif, you don't have those tags on the end. There's a little bit more of a relaxed feel. So let's see. So Shayna, come up with something clever for the inside. What would you say at the very top or on the next page of this card? And I'll finish building the front. You've got clever catchphrases. So we're starting off with You're a Catch. Anybody have any ideas? No ideas?
I'm writing.
Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. And so before, when I was talking about using a picture for the background, then what we can do is you can click on the picture, you can make and select a black color, and it'll look like the picture has gone away. Let's see here. Shoot, they must have changed that. Oh, there we go. So we had pulled up fishing, and you'll want to set that background to be dark, throw the picture over the top, and then you'll make that picture transparent. And I usually recommend about 50% for transparency. So placement is a little bit tricky. It kind of depends on the design of the card, how you want to go about the process. How is it going to look? I like to think, how is it going to look when it sits on somebody's desk? So if they put it up on a shelf, what is that going to look like? So I got a card from a friend here. And she said, any specific requests? And I said, I'd like a card with a Valkyrie on it. So she sends me this. And it's just the coolest, neatest. And it looks like it just sits upright. And it looks really, really great up on the desk. And so that's something that I like to consider every time I'm designing a card. So where is that text going to want to sit? So I usually put it in the center, left aligned, or I put it in the center aligned. So that way it's right there, big and bold. They can't forget it. Now we also can't forget to put a logo on there too. Keep it small. Doesn't need to be big and bold and beautiful. You can just put it down at the bottom in the corner. They remember that you're there. They can see the logo and who sent it, but it's not, you're not trying to sell them anything. You're just thanking them for the opportunity. So now let's create the next page. So photo colors. The fun thing about Canva is that it will take the pictures that you have and it'll allow you to pick colors. Boom. You got a color from that picture right there. We can start building this pane. So what did you come up with for the next page?
So I put it in the chat and I said, thank you so much for your confidence in the ability to dive deep into your brand and its presence both online and in person.
Awesome. And do you think that should be on the left side or the right side?
That's going to go on the right side where
Okay.
you actually write your message, like if you were shopping from Hallmark, right?
Absolutely.
The left side is definitely for like you had in the last one, like where to find them, maybe a call to action, maybe a resource or a checklist that you're providing them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's see. Oh, hold on. I have a favorite one that I like to use for this. Oh, being tricky today. We'll just keep that font for the time being and come back to that. So yeah, Shayna's right. The best place to put your actual message is, where would you write that in a greeting card? They're going to have, usually if you think of a Hallmark card, you're going to run into a situation where they've got some design or inspirational message or something on the left side. In our case, we like to use that as an opportunity to remind you where that they can find us. And then on the right side, we'll put that message. And so we will put this, keep it within the printing boundaries. And say, this is going to be Richard. I like to bold their name. So that way they know they're the important one. And so let's do this and go to commission card. And so while this is an inverted color, this isn't exactly the right color that I would use for this signature. I would use a dark color on this. But what I will do is I'll make sure that that signature is there, and we can do the same thing with a little bit of body text down here. And there's no such thing as a bad card. I mean, honestly, it's
As long as it comes from the heart.
exactly, that's the whole point. And so we're going to overlap this a little bit, make sure they know that we put some thought into this. I'm going to do lead web architect. Okay, and then let's copy over. And we can put, usually for portrait cards, if I'm going to put circular logos in, I will center those and I'll size them up a little bit and I'll do them how the card is organized. For instance, with this one, we did it sideways because the card was a landscape card. Sometimes I put text on there, sometimes I don't. I usually recommend just keeping it simple so that way you're not asking too much of them. But something like this, like your words are so meaningful, is a really, really great way for them to know. It's almost a little bit of a game in a sense that if they want to leave a review for you, they're going to go find you on Facebook. So that's why I like to use that QR code or put a link on the back. So we've got 3 panes here, and then we've got our 4th pane that we're going to create. So the 4th one is usually where I like to showcase the brand. That's something going to be on the back side of the card, something like this, where you can see how there's address information up at the top. There's a picture of her and the business, and then there's a description of what they do. And here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs and the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as crazy ones, we see genius because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. I keep this card so I can go back and I can read that. Put something like that on the card. Find a quote, find something relevant. It's really easy to find quotes nowadays because it is still meaningful. You don't have to have it up here for it to be meaningful. You thought of them. You went and you took the effort to go look something up.
Exactly. So the one that I use regularly is always be in the spirit of service. Give for the sake of giving and you will attract what you give. Cody B. So I put that above basically my business card.
Perfect. Such a great idea. And send out cards makes it so easy for you to pop that information in there too. And I'll show what that process looks like. So I'm going to quick copy. I'm going to just copy these two things so we have something for the back of the card as an example. And I don't like to use a lot of the same color. Let's do something dark. Whoops. Let's do something dark for the back. And
Let's do another picture.
Yeah. Let's do that. So that's nice and dark. What do you think? Should we stick with the fishing theme or should we do a dock?
You can do a dock. You could do the wood. You could do the just the water.
Yeah, let's see here. I like this one. That fits. Very cool. Then we will. And we're going to do darken this up, take this picture, put it here, and then we're going to do the 50% transparency again. That way it's dark and you can put white text on it. It's not perfect, but it will work. And then we just copy in our content from the old card. And this is stuff that I pre-built in Canva earlier on. And so it's just content that you can recycle and reuse. Give them a little bit of an instruction. Remember to scan and see the difference. And then let me see. I had a quote that I really like I was going to put. And then we're going to just rotate. Let me find that quote. Perfect. So I've got one that I will drop in. So here's a favorite of mine. And I like this one because I'm a designer and a musician by trade. That's what I've spent most of my life doing. So Ludwig van Beethoven, don't only practice your art, but force your way into its secrets, for it and knowledge can raise men to the divine. I'll put in the information as to who the quote is from. I'm spelling that right, so I'm not embarrassing myself. And that's another thing. Always proofread your cards before you send them. My first couple cards that I sent had a few mistakes, and they always your customers won't really care, but they will never let you live it down. That's the funny part is they'll tease you about it.
They remember it.
Yeah, it's easy to remember, but it's sometimes it can get tiring. All right, so let's do perfect. We'll size that up, and I like to make it so that there's about the same amount of text on each line. Scan and see the difference, and then we'll just drop the logo on the back again. And so if we wanted to put this into send out cards and send it to somebody, you can just export it.
So you have to show us that too.
Yep. So I like to save it. Card example, Richard. I'll put usually the name of the business at the very beginning. I'll put card and then I'll do dash for like, and then the business and then dash the person's name. So I can just do a search in my Canva library later on if I need to pull up all the resources I designed for that company or for that whatever. That way I don't have to mess with all the folder stuff. I just type the company name into the search bar and that works out. So that's one way that I found to organize your stuff in Canva, or you can be fancy and use their folders as well. So to export, at the very top, you can click this download button. And my recommendation is to export as a PNG. If you export it as a PDF, print or standard, it's not going to import into send out cards properly. You're going to want to keep that high quality too. So that way, when they print it, they use that really nice glossy paper, or that satin paper that just has that really, really good feel to it. The quality of your card comes out really nice. So you'll want to click PNG and then you'll download. And what you'll get is you'll get a zip file that has the 4 panes in it. And it'll take a little bit to generate because it's not just one image. It's got to render everything and then give it to you in PNG format. So once that's done, then we can click and we can open that up. So it looks like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Really easy, really simple. So then if you wanted to go and send it to somebody, let's go to send out cards, log in. And Shayna can talk more about all the various different features in send out cards. And this is just one way that you can turn and create this digital experience, take your brand and take someone else's hobby or their passion, and you can do something really, really nice for it for really, really cheap. And you're not going to find a card like this either when you go to Walmart. So let's send a card. We're going to go build your own, your photo here. So here's what we can customize. I usually do the 2-panel card. Sometimes gets a little tricky with folding and such if you're doing a 3-panel card and you're exporting, but if you play around with it, it's pretty easy to figure out. I almost always will pay the extra 50 cents for the satin or for the pearl, just because it's got that really nice feel. So we're going to send it all shiny pearl next. And that's what this one is. This is the pearl sheen, where you've got that reflective surface, and it keeps longer too, because it's almost waterproof at that point. And the inside of the card has that same protection as well. So here's the fun part. This is where you can actually choose how you want to lay things out. So we can do, if you wanted to do a different type of layout, you can upload a photo. But in order to do this appropriately, you pick the whole page, drag the image, click something, and then we'll upload that card. So use your own photos, upload a photo. We're going to go. Let's see. I got to make sure that I've got that all exported. There we go. I had to unzip my folder. There we go. All right. Upload. So card example. You've got your 4 options, and unfortunately they don't let you upload numerous panes at once. So it does get to be kind of time consuming, but if you're doing it 1 pane at a time, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to open this one up because this is the first page. That'll pop in and you just click it. And if you want to adjust the size, they do give you the option for that plus or minus to zoom in or zoom out on those pictures. But if you design it with the 5x7, it fits perfectly. So let's go to the next page. We'll pick our layout, full size. And then we're going to click here, upload a photo, pick page 2. I'm going to do the same thing here. We're going to pick our layout, pick the full size, upload a photo, number 3. And we'll click that.
So there's a little bit of magic on this last panel on the back of the card. When you select your layout, you can actually save that layout for the future. So you'll select the dragon image, the full one, just like you had been, and click your picture. So once you have this here, this is something like Ryan just did. He just copied and pasted. Like he just had to create more of that, the vertical versus horizontal. So if you want to reuse this anytime, Ryan, again, this is something you can put on the back of any card. It's not that message. It's not the catch, that kind of thing. Save layout instead of save in that bottom left-hand corner.
Yep.
Allows it to where you can go back to that back of card. So you can do this on the go. If for some reason, whether you're using your phone or what have you, and you're selecting maybe even a stock card from the Send Out Cards catalog, these backs are always there for you to use when you save them.
It's another good example is I like succulents. I collect them. It's kind of one of my hobbies. So I had a card that I sent to a friend, and it was just a standard greeting card. It was one of their pre-built ones, but I just built a back page for it. And this is what we built. Something really, really simple. If your website sucks, we can help. And I thought, one day I like succulents, and I think this is kind of funny. Sent it on the card, and everybody loved it. So I put it on nearly all of our cards now. Usually something about that. Even on the video feed, you can see
I saw that when we got
on my border, I've got a little succulent on there as well, and that's just kind of the joke that I've been going with lately. But yeah, the Canva makes the process just so unequivocally easy that you can save whole pages. Like this one I reuse all the time, and I really like this one as well. So I reuse those to build cards, and then once you put them in Send Out Cards, you can just scroll through, click them, swap them out for something else at any time. And so there's just a lot of really neat things that you can do by putting that all together. Do you have anything to add, Shayna?
No, let's send that card. I mean, we're not really sending it because you made up this Richard person.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Let's go to that checkout
the
screen.
right page. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So let's go here, save, and proceed to checkout. Perfect. And so you can add other cards to your order if you'd like to. You don't have to just send the one. And there are also different plans with Send Out Cards that give you the ability to automatically send or have a certain number of cards included in your plan per month. Shayna can talk a little bit more about that and what those offers are available. But here we can again confirm, yes, we chose the pearl paper, 50 cents. We got 2-panel card. So it'll be just your folding card, just like this. And then the send type is something I'm not as familiar with, but I usually, just to keep it simple, I'll just go down here and I'll click add gift. And you can't go wrong for $5 extra. Send in some brownies. And let me tell you, they open up that box, they got the brownies, they see your card on the top, and it's just a really, really nice experience. And Shayna likes to call it happy mail. She jokes all the time that her husband can see the boxes a mile away when they're coming. And she's got to hide the brownies. So when you start making a habit of chronic positivity, it's one of those things that it just becomes fun and part of that process. And it also takes you away from thinking so much of, hey, what can I design for Facebook? What can I design for my website? What do I put in this email? It lets you take 10, 15 minutes and do something fun for a friend. And I think all the time now, how can I make a joke and send somebody a card? And so it's just a really, really neat process. So if we scroll down, then you've got your return address. Once you set your account up, you can put your return address and information in there. And here's where we add our recipients. So we'll add people that we want to send it to. Let's go and let's send it to Rhonda. We're not actually going to send it to Rhonda, but this will just show you that process. So it'll show you the recipients down here. You can remove them, you can edit them, you can save it and send it right here. So it's a simple process. And it's really neat how they give you the ability to import your library. So it's just a one-click process.
Absolutely. So Ryan, in adding this to what you're doing, like how has that worked for you? Can you give us maybe a card story specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a customer who recently transferred their website over to our services after they had a redesign. And I got an email from them one day and they go, so I thought this was fraud, but it's actually not. She goes, I'm in the top 50 recruiters on Forbes magazine, and it recruiters in the United States. And so I was able to take something really cool, and I designed this card that it was, we put her logo on the front, and then we put a heart, and then we put our logo at the bottom. And I don't have it in front of me, but it was really, really neat to be able to just put something together and go, we love supporting you. And I put a message in there, something along the lines of congratulations. We're so proud of how far you've come, for how many years you've been working. It's really neat to see this success come forward and for you to get this recognition. Congratulations. And I put my number and just my first name. And I said, hey, give me a call at any time. And we put our branding and such on the back. We didn't make a big necessary deal out of it. This was before I was doing everything in Canva, but I just immediately thought that would be an appropriate gesture, where I knew that she would see it. It wouldn't get lost in her inbox, in her email. She doesn't chat on Facebook. I could message her on LinkedIn, but it's a pretty informal or a pretty formal platform. It's just not something that you get the warm fuzzies from. So that was the closest thing that I could think of. And she was very appreciative of that as well.
I love it. I love it. And it lands at the top of the pile,
Yes.
right? It's
Yep.
not an email that just ticks its way down.
Mhm.
So I want to open it up to questions. If you guys had any questions, I know a few of you are dabbling or using send out cards, or vice versa. Ryan, and you know what he has done for your brand. So I just want to open the floor for questions. Maybe Ryan, you can check Facebook Live. I know you threw this into a few other places.
Yep.
So yeah, chime in with your questions, whether it's in chat or here on Zoom. Yeah.
Let's see here.
Hey Ryan, this is Chris. Is the version of Canva you use, or is that all free, or I'm guessing you may have the professional? or all
Yeah,
the-
so because of all the stuff that I design and all the stuff that I do, I did opt for the professional. I believe I can just pull up the pricing here for everybody's reference. It's
The Pro
it's
is-
pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, the Pro is great for the extra images,
Yeah.
as well as the extra fonts. And then you also have the elements, the pieces and parts and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the really neat things is so like you have the ability to use all of their elements and all of their various different things. You can see some of them say free, some of them are pro, and it'll lock some of those images and things behind. But you can pay per use of each image, but it gets really tricky because then they bill you per download and such like that, and it starts to get really strange. So I would recommend just going with the pro version. Some of the features that aren't available are things like resizing your design. So if I wanted to resize this card into a landscape card, I could just one click do that here instead of having to rebuild it in a new design like I would on the free plan.
That's something I didn't know.
Learn something new every day. I am just checking our Facebook Live. Coolio. And I believe I pay 11 or 12 something a month for Canva. It's showing the yearly price here, but yeah, $10 per month.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I do or did before I discovered Canva, I was in outside sales, so I was at people's locations. Chris, you were saying you're trying to get away from that, right? So literally, I would take a picture of the front of their building because they're not going to throw that away.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they just remodeled their lobby. I took a picture of that. Right. It's a different version of celebrating. And then that's what I would put on the front of the card. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I love it. And it's such a clever idea too, because, whenever somebody makes something for your business that has like your business logo and such on it, you're less inclined to throw it away. So there we go. That's what I'm going for. Yeah. So one thing I did want to pull up too is, let me see. Oh, there we go. I got sidetracked. There we go. Facebook was being strange on my end. My apologies. Awesome. Anybody else have any other questions? I know a little bit about the Canva process can get kind of confusing. It's a relatively easy tool to pop in and use. And I'm not an affiliate for it. I don't have an affiliate link or anything. So I'm not promoting it just to sell it or anything like that. But it's one of those tools where if you spend the hour to get to know it, you can use it for everything. I've used it from everything as far as logo design to designing cards to all sorts of various different things. So it is something that can be considered an investment as well for your other platforms.
So I want to add just on the pricing question, Ryan, you had brought up the pricing on send out cards.
Yeah.
So at $275 plus postage plus an upgrade or whatever it is, that is definitely the base level price. You can't get just one of something for that price. That beautiful, right? So then from there, you can, when you become that card sender, right? Whether it's networking, thanking people for their time or money, that kind of thing. Really, essentially, the best way to break it down is you can get your cards for less than $2, including postage. So yeah, that starts at the base and it gets better from there.
Another one of the stories I think we had talked about in coffee was I like to, whenever I'm working with like auto mechanics or big burly men, I like to send them a giant stuffed pink elephant. And yeah, I pulled the prank twice now, and it's been well received both times. They got a hoot out of it. And so every now and then, like if you know you're working with the right person, or if you know somebody's humor pretty well, especially if you have a long-term relationship with somebody, try to think of something clever. There's lots of little tools too. If you don't want to send food, or if you don't want to associate with a certain type of product, you can also pick out, there's little tools and stuff that you can get, and there's little trinkets and keychains and all sorts of stuff. So it's not just the brownies and pink stuffed elephants.
Love it. So Patrick has a question. When you're using Canva for logos, what image type do you export? Is it just PNG, JPEG? What do you got for us, Ryan?
Absolutely. So when you're doing an export, there's lots of various different options that are usually available. The most common one that I always use is PNG, because that's compatible with just about anything. Whereas you can also do JPEG. You can usually do PDF. It kind of depends on what you're designing. You can design presentations that you can export in PowerPoint format and then actually open up in PowerPoint and present. It'll put in all the animations and everything all for you. You can create GIFs with moving items. So say, for instance, if I wanted to put something like this, obviously you can't put that on a card, but then you can now choose the length of that.
Sharing right now, Ryan.
What was that?
We're not screen sharing.
Oh, that's right. Let's see.
I know also one little hack when it comes to logos is transparent backgrounds. That would be something that you pay for. Yes. Or have Pro.
There is also a tool as well where you can import pictures and logos and such. And there's a tool, it's in beta right now, but you can click on a color and it'll strip the background out of it so that you can just use the object. So here to finally answer your question here, Pat, now that I got my stuff figured out over here, when you're doing animated things like this, then it'll give you the option to export as an MP4 or as a GIF. So you can pretty much pick whatever you need. I haven't run into an issue where it doesn't give me the format I don't need when I'm making something.
So Patrick, your next question, can it convert images in image vectors? Are you saying into or out of?
Let me see here. I think I might be able to answer that question for him. I believe you have the ability to drag, because essentially you can just drag files into Canva, and I haven't run into an issue where that doesn't work either. So I believe you can bring vectors in, and I believe you can export them as vectors as well. I'm not entirely certain if vector graphics of any type are something that are available in the free plan, purely just because I think that would imply a transparent background.
Right. Yep. I agree. I don't have the paid version and I don't have that ability. So that's why I asked the question. I do like that though, especially when you're taking what you're doing with your brand and putting it on something like a t-shirt or a coffee mug. They need vector. And that is something, vectors are something you can put on the top of a coin or put it on a billboard and it's going to look the same. So vectors are their own kind of magic.
Here's an example of what that transparent background looks like. So this will strip the picture off. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. Hold on just a second. I have one in my downloads folder.
And you might have to share a different screen.
Yeah, I'm just searching through the files here for a second. So here's an example of, yeah. So this was exported with Canva. I just dragged this element onto a pane in Canva, and I exported it without a background. And this is the graphic that's now in my video. So if you look in the bottom right-hand corner of my video feed, this is where I got that from. So this was exported with a transparent background, but it was a 500 by 500 pixel square. And initially I built it on a white background and then I exported it.
Cool. I like it. Well, Ryan, we should wrap this up. These
Alrighty.
guys got off work early or just left work, so let's let them out.
Sounds great. If anybody has any other questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me on Facebook, or you can reach out to Shayna and she can get us connected as well. But I appreciate you guys joining us, and we hope to see you next time.
Absolutely. See you all soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to stop recording.